Hi and welcome. My name is Lawrence Baker and this video is going to be about going from Lightroom to an online print bureau. This is not a straightforward process, especially if you don't know a reputable online bureau, because what you're going to have to do is search for it with Google. Obviously, advertising comes first, and then you might find a nice bespoke one 4 pages in, and that's the way it often is. But if you know a photographer can recommend one, please use that one, because most professional photographers will obviously be very fussy about their work. Now, I use the print space in London, and I'm going to use it as an example of a quality website or quality online print bureau. Firstly, it has downloadable print profiles and they're very prominent on their site. Some sites bury them right down in the FAQs, for instance, but you know, print profiles are very important because you need to softproof your image. The other thing to look out for is what PPI, what pixel per inch do they want? And all PPI means is how many pixels get represented in 1 inch of paper. There's no direct relationship between a dot and a pixel because it takes lots of dots to make 1 pixel. What you're saying is represent 300 pixels in 1 inch of paper. Now 300 is seen as the benchmark, and if they don't state that, I will ask that bureau what they want. If they don't know what you're talking about, then I wouldn't use them. Now most printers, I'm talking about the machines themselves, will actually have fixed quality. So forget about their quality. All you're saying is I want 300 pixels represented in 1 inch of paper. The next thing to be talking about is image size. Now, image size usually means their template sizes. If you want a custom size, you need to ask them if they accept custom sizes. They should do. Thing is, I can just upload a custom size to the print space here because if it fits into a certain template, then I get charged that price. So if I had a 26 by 17, that I'm afraid will be the 30 by 31 and they're going to charge me that price. So it's print profiles, PPI and custom sizes. The other thing is what format do they want? They all take JPEG, and if you're outputting or exporting from Lightroom, 100 quality will be fine because you're unlikely to break their file size requirements or their limits. So print profiles, PPI, custom sizes, format, yes, it's usually JPEG, or sometimes the print space here could take a flattened 8-bit TIFF. So do ask. I've printed with a TIFF and with JPEG, same image. I hadn't noticed any difference in quality between the two. Although JPEG is highly compressed, when you go to 100 quality, you will not notice the difference. Right, you've got all that information. You've downloaded their print profiles. Now, if I download them now, and my system will automatically unzip them, I'll show you what the print profiles look like. And here they go. Now, they will have the file extension .icc International Color Consortium. And obviously it's got the name of the company, C-type, Kodak Metallic. That's the paper. That's a typical print profile. You need to get them into your system. That is not straightforward. You have to go right down into your operating system. I'll have a link down below for Mac and for Windows systems, but it isn't straightforward, unfortunately. Once you've got them into your system, you can use them for soft proofing. So let's go to Lightroom. Here's my image. Now, the first thing I need to do is soft proof. The overriding principle will now be, have I got a profiled monitor? Now, I use a gadget called a spectrophotometer to do that, and it's a posh word for monitor profiler. I use one from Datacolor, and I've got the Spider 4. Now, it's really good profiler. Or there's another company called X-rite, and they have the i1 Display Pro. They have other products, both of these companies, but that's what I call the standard ones, and they're fine for photographers. If you don't or can't afford one of these, you're going to have to profile your monitor manually. The way to do it on a Mac is System Preferences, Displays, Color, Calibrate, and go through the process of calibrating your monitor. It's the same for Windows in the sense it's a wizard, but I haven't got a Windows system, but I will have a link down below on my own website or someone else's website where they'll show you how to do it. So I must have a profile monitor. This is the most important thing, because if you haven't profiled your monitor, it's going to turn out rubbish. I know monitors have got a lot better as time's gone on and they don't need to be heated up first, etc., etc. But believe me, if you don't profile your monitor, you will almost be guaranteed to be disappointed. Back to Lightroom. So I now have these profiles in my system. They will now be available to me in Lightroom and Photoshop, etc. So let's do the soft proofing first. There is a box you can tick here, and if you haven't got it showing, it's because you haven't got it ticked here. Or you can come to View, Soft Proofing, Show Proof, or press S on your keyboard. Off we go. Now, this is changed here, but I'm going to take you back to this menu first to show you things, because it is exactly the same in some ways, but you've got Show Proof ticked, which is on, Destination Gamut Warning, which is Shift S. That's the profile you're going out to, and you have to pick the profile, and I'll come to that in a minute. Monitor Gamut Warning, really you don't need to tick that, and I never do. Perceptual or relative, I will explain more in a minute. Simulate paper and ink, well that means if you're going out to normal paper, I would keep that ticked. But if you're going out to some of these canvas materials or metal or whatever, don't tick it. So here we are, we have to pick the profile. If you don't see it, go to Other, pick it or tick it to pick it. Simple as that. Now, if you mouse over Perceptual here, it says Preserve out of gamut detail, but may change in gamut colours. Relative preserves colour accuracy, but clips out of gamut detail. It's about how you see things on screen, so you've got a choice. Most of the time I go with Perceptual, and it's a very complex subject, and I don't want to cover it now, but Perceptual is how your eye perceives colour. It is science, and I can explain it, but this video is not the place to explain it. As I say, simulate paper and ink will be fine. Now, create proof copy is something I do straight away, because I believe you shouldn't work on the original file because you're changing the colour space. And to get back to ProPhoto RGB might not be as straightforward as you think. So I normally create a proof copy, but if I didn't and started playing around with saturation, etc., it would prompt me. Now, I'm not seeing what's out of gamut yet because I haven't clicked here, or I could have gone to View, Soft Proofing and ticked Destination Gamut Warning or Shift S. So now I'm seeing what's out of gamut, which won't be exactly reproducible when I go out to this printer. If I go on this one, this is the monitor one, you don't really need to bother about it. Really, the one you need to bother about is this one. Now, you can bring it back into the gamut of the printer by playing around with saturation or hue or whatever, white balance, etc. You don't know exactly the reason. You know, it could be hue, it could be color, it could be saturation, could be tonality or whatever. But you can use the tools inside Lightroom, the develop tools, to actually get rid of it. So if I just started taking the saturation down, it will prompt me, do I want to create a virtual copy for soft proofing? I would always create a proof copy. If you make this a proof, you've messed around with your master file. It's only a virtual copy and it does no harm, so I would definitely create a proof copy. I'm going to click undo because that would take the saturation back to 0. You could use an adjustment brush, K on my keyboard, make it smaller. And what have I got set up here? I've just got the temperature brought down. So maybe this will change it. Yes, it does. So you get the idea. If you want to bring stuff back into the gamut of the printer, then you're going to have to use one of these tools. Now, if you've profiled your monitor, it won't really matter that much, because with the profiled monitor, the printer will still do its best to match that color, hue and tonality. If you play around with the tools, maybe, you know, you're really destroying something really that it doesn't need mending, because as I said, with a profiled monitor, you're probably going to be absolutely fine. When you get the print back, and I've done this and I've not done any adjustments with certain images, I've got the print back and I can hardly tell the difference between the screen and the print copy, and that's called hard proofing. So I know this works, especially if you profiled your monitor with a spectrophotometer. So I don't often do any global adjustments or anything like that, or use the adjustment brush, because I don't need to, because I profiled my monitor. But if I saw a lot of red here, then I would probably do something, play around with global adjustments or brushes or graduated filters or whatever. So I'm not going to do anything on this occasion, but I'm going to create a proof copy here. So I've got a proof copy with that print space C-type Fujiflex embedded, so to speak. So you can see here, it's a virtual copy, bottom left-hand corners turn upwards. So it's a virtual copy I've got with that profile in it. Now it's all about size. I'm going to turn that off now. I don't need to see that red overlay. Off it goes. Now, how do I know what size I'm going to get at 300 ppi? As I said, 300 ppi is seen as the benchmark. If you divide those two numbers by 300, you will get the size in inches you're going to get. So, calculator, 7859 divided by 300 is 26 inches thereabouts. Clear that. 5242 divided by 300 is 17.5 inches roughly. Let's say 26 by 17 inches. That's what I'm going to get if I just went to export and exported this image. And the way I would export it is like this. Providing my bureau accepts custom sizes, which mine does, I would go Command and Control Shift E or File Export. And I would untick resize to fit. I would make sure the image format is right. I've picked the color space. If I don't see it, go to other, tick it to pick it. Color space, quality at 100. Assume I'm going with JPEG. You're very unlikely to break the file sizes. They'll never tick that. Resize to fit, I would untick and put resolution at 300. Actually, the resolution won't really matter because the printer prints at its own quality. But what I will get back is a 26 inch by 17 inch image. I will guarantee you that. Definitely. So if I want a particular size, then I would have to crop to that particular size. You can't size with the crop tool. Well, you can, you're sizing it, but you're very unlikely to meet the actual size you want in pixels or whatever, or inches especially, because it's all about aspect ratio. So let's go back to the print space and have a look at their sizes. Now, I know my camera normally at 26 inches, it outputs a 300 ppi by 17. If I picked a much larger size, like 30 by 40, I know there's going to be resizing that takes place. But the first thing you have to do, you have to crop to that aspect ratio. So I would go to the crop tool, up to enter custom, and I'll put in 30 by 40. That is the aspect ratio. I don't, try and work it out myself. It happens to be 4 by 3, which we can see here. I just enter it in custom, and that's what you should do. It makes your life so much easier. So now let's say I'm happy with the crop. I press return. What size am I going to get at best quality out of this image? 6989 divided by 300 equals 23 inches by 5242, which we know is 17 inches. So the best I can get out of this image at 300 ppi without resizing is 23 inches by 17 inches. Right, but we want 30 by 40. Command and Control Shift E to go to File Export. We need to tick it now. Color space is the printer we're going out to. Quality 100. Sharpen for glossy paper, which it is, let's say, and amount standard will be fine. So pick your paper, matte or glossy, and standard will be fine. Because you're usually resizing on export, you need to sharpen again. So I said 30 by 40. 30 by 40. Resolution, you never change. Once you find out what it is, because you can't control how the printer prints. The resolution is saying, I want 300 pixels in 1 inch, and I want that represented on a piece of paper. So you're kind of resizing the image, definitely now, when you go to 30 by 40. So let's export this, and I'm going to have it open up post-processing in my preview app, which is like the Windows photo viewer. Right, overwrite. It's going to take a while because it's resizing the image. We know that because we said it was 23 by 17, and we want this much larger size in inches, 30 by 40, Command I, it's now 9000 by 6752. It's resized the image. Now, I could eyeball this now and say, what's it look like at its actual size? And I could see any errors on it. Now, that is the actual size. Now, there was a lot of banding and artifacting in this image anyway. I knew that. So let's close that down. So that's what's happening with the resizing. When you want 300, it might, and a certain size, you might be making your image smaller or larger. If you don't care and you want a custom size that this would be, and you want the best, I say untick everything on the resize bit and just go out at 300 ppi. You'll be absolutely fine. But find out if your bureau accepts custom sizes. Now, this conversely will work if you make it smaller. So let's find another size. Let's reset our crop a sec. F7, I'm going to go back to create proof copy. So there you go. That was the original crop. And I'm just going to press the space bar to get it to fit on screen. Now, let's find another size. I'm just going to pick one I know is smaller than the size I'm going to get. So I'm going to pick 12 by 16 or maybe 11 by 14. So what I have to do, I have to crop to the aspect ratio. Back to Lightroom. R on my keyboard. Enter custom. 11 by 14. That is 11 by 14. It's got no lower divisible number, so that's the crop. Return. So that's what I have to do first. You have to crop to the aspect ratio of the size you want. Command or Control Shift E or File Export. Right, I want, it was 11 by 14, that was it. 11 by 14, 11 inches by 14 inches. Don't change that number. 300 will be seen as the benchmark for quality. I know it's going to make it smaller. So export by the same method. I'm going to see it in my preview app and we'll see the size. Command I, it's now 3300 by 2594. It's made it smaller than that size. So that's what it's all about. So just to go over this one more time, Print Bureau. Downloadable print profiles, do they accept custom sizes, what PPI they want and what format, and that's usually JPEG and always output at 100. If you like the crop you're seeing, just go Command Shift E or Control Shift E or File Export and untick this and put 300 there and you'll get the best out of that image at that crop and you'll get charged to the template size it fits if your bureau accepts it like that. If you want a certain size, you have to crop to that size. Then you decide in the export box what inches you want. Obviously, Command or Control Shift E. You pick the inches and I can almost guarantee you it's going to resize your image, make it larger or smaller. If you're making it significantly larger, look at it in Photoshop or wherever, Windows Photo Viewer. Does it look all right? If it looks awful on screen, I can guarantee it won't print very well. Obviously, soft proofing is absolutely important, but if you've got a profiled monitor, you probably don't have to bother with actually trying to bring things back into the gamut of the printer, because with a decent profiled monitor, the printer does its best. So you got your print profiles downloaded, you've uploaded to your system, you've soft proofed it. So when you come to this bit, this is the difficult bit to understand, this resolution bit. Always leave it at 300 because that is what most print bureaus want. And if they don't know what you're talking about, I say don't use them. You crop to the size you want, the aspect ratio. When you come to export, you put the measurements in and resizing will often take place. That could lead to a loss in quality, whether you're going smaller or larger. So eyeball it on screen. That's it, guys. It's not a straightforward subject, this. I've done another video on it, well, a similar video called Getting Image Size Right on Export from Lightroom. And that will explain a lot more about this PPI phenomenon, because a lot of people get it misunderstood. It's only for printing and it doesn't mean anything to a screen at all. But when you think about this, the 300 PPI thing as well, the printer doesn't care about the quality of your pixels. If you've shot it with a really expensive DSLR or whatever, or an iPhone, it doesn't care. All it cares about is the size. It's simple as that. And if you want 300 pixels in 1 inch, it's probably going to resize the image. Simple as that, depending on what you want in inches. Size is everything. I know resolution can mean the amount of detail an image can hold, but in this context, it's all about size. Thanks very much, guys.